on Talk Radio.
Let's finish up with our text poll. Is free speech under threat in our schools? 97% say yes, 3% say no. Lots of you saying free speech is under threat everywhere. Well, let me make a commitment to you that it will not be under threat at Talk Radio. It's certainly not on my watch. Proof of that is that all views are welcome, and you know the number. Let me read this particular tweet, and it's from Anonymous, who says, "Please, Mark, can you correct people? The cartoon referred to is satirical, a metaphor for the hijacking of Islam by terrorists, those who justify their atrocities." Anonymous, thank you very much for your contribution. Oh, yeah, okay, it continues, actually. Those who justify their atrocities in the name of the Prophet. To say it's offensive is to misunderstand it completely. But even if it is offensive to some, well, this is a Western democracy, formally anyway, and many millions have died to protect our freedoms. And I have a name. It's Lynn in Stockport. So thank you, Lynn, for sharing your views on that one. I'm delighted to say that with me now is the doyen of entertainment journalism in this country. It's Josh Rom. Hi, Josh.
Hello, and may I just say, you're looking rather muted for you today.
Well, I normally am the purveyor.
Bright pink, usually.
Of the bright shirt, but I've been toned down. Because some people don't like the bright shirts.
Oh, well, that's a shame, but this is okay. This is okay.
Like many things, they divide opinion. But look, I think they'll be back on Monday, you know.
Okay.
I'm ready. I'm coming back with lime green on Monday. What do you think about that, lime green?
I shall reserve comment.
Moving on.
Let's move on.
So tell us what you've got.
So this is the thing, right? You were speaking about free speech, and we at Talk Radio are known as the home of free speech. And
correct.
That includes views which we may or may not necessarily agree with. And I think the next interview, my little exclusive that I got to you today, kind of really encapsulates that, because I'm sure his views do not align with a lot of our audience's views. So I am, of course, talking about Eddie Izzard, and he stars in the brand new feature film 6 Minutes to Midnight, which is streaming on Sky Cinema today. So it's another brand new release. Unfortunately, cinemas are not yet open. Get those cinemas open, guys. Come on. I'm just rooting for it.
Completely agree with you. We want to get the pubs open. We want to get the cinemas open. Theatres, football stadia.
No, but this is the thing, right? Just very quickly before I talk about
the
film.
Have a rant.
No, I'm going to here
because
I think it's ridiculous that the government have looped in cinemas with theatres, because cinemas, first of all, economically, they don't have the overheads that theatres do.
Correct.
Second of all, because of that, it doesn't cost much to put on a film. It's just a big projector. So therefore, they could easily open up with social distancing in place. So the fact that they've looped them in together, I just think it's such a shame. Open cinemas up before theatres. Maybe not the big IMAX screens, but certainly those local cinemas. Like, that's the thing. Local cinemas themselves have really suffered in lockdown. So to get those little cinemas allowed to open with social distancing measures in place, get that revenue.
Well, that's right. They're often really iconic buildings, sometimes quite old buildings, and when they're gone, they're not coming back, and it's just going to become a supermarket or something. Tell me about the actual person we're talking about. It's Eddie Izzard.
Eddie Izzard.
Very talented guy.
Very talented. Known for his comic, for being a stand-up comic as well.
He's one of those annoying people that seems to be good at everything, doesn't he? Because he's also been a very successful actor, and then he's also a marathon runner.
He is a marathon.
In the extreme.
But we should say she.
Thank you.
Eddie identifies as female, so
yes.
and I was actually, I'm going to be honest, I was guilty about it on Sunday.
You'll have to
Patrick
forgive
Christie's,
me because and please, Eddie must forgive me as well, because I've been a huge fan of hers for so many years, of course,
but you know what,
she was previously identified as a boy.
But this is the funny thing.
What's her position now?
You'll hear this in the interview, because she did this massive big kind of press campaign saying that she was transgender and she wants to live by female pronouns going forward. And yes, that's true for everyday life, but in our interview coming up, she kind of doesn't backtrack, but says that she wants to, in terms of her dramatic work and on screen, she's very much up for still playing the boy parts and those, and maybe even trans characters as well. So she likens it to a kind of superhero quality. Day to day girl in terms of her activism, in terms of her comedy, in terms of her marathons, but when it comes to acting, still very much boy made.
Let's have a listen.
In a feature film like this, and also to have written, co-written it, that's great, because in the end, that's all the A-listers do. But the fact that 6 Minutes to Midnight is based around a school that actually exists in the town where I grew up. That's the kind of amazing thing, that these German girls just before World War II were there. Himmler, who was head of the SS, his goddaughter was at the school. Von Ribbentrop was German ambassador to Britain. His daughter was there. And they were listening to Hitler's speeches in England and doing Nazi salutes to the radio set. And this was all going on at the same time. And so we took that beginning of the thing, the Augusta Victoria School in Bexhill and the south coast of England, and just built our story on top of that. So, yeah, and it's great to be able to give myself the lead role in it. You know.
You're not afraid to get political on Twitter. And going forward, would you kind of be interested in projects that you can very much intertwine with your own political beliefs and kind of show your political beliefs throughout projects as well?
I don't think so in the drama. I mean, this, you know, I'm for humanity. I'm for live and let live. I'm for make humanity great again. These are my projects. So I'm a radical and a moderate. You know, I do radical things with a moderate message. So if anyone is, those are my political beliefs, being moderate, and that's kind of in this film, but it's not. The thriller has to work in the film, the story and the characters have to work, and then the message can be behind that. But the projects that I will do going on will be good stories, but I could play characters, I could well play characters like that are horrible characters. So I'm going to be happy to play characters that I don't like, that I agree with, that I disagree with. And if I'm doing the project, I will just try and make it work as a project, and then we'll see what happens with the politics after.
You, of course, have made a lot of headlines recently with how you identify. This is obviously a very male character in a movie. Would you still be very much up for playing male characters? And is this something that you want to encourage trans actors and actresses to do in Hollywood going forward, to play the other gender?
Well, it's if I'm gender fluid. So, you know, I came out, if people don't know, I came out in 1985. So it's eons ago, 36 years ago. And I've always said, you know, boy mode and girl mode, I see it as a superhero thing. So I have the boy mode and girl mode. And I'm doing stand-up in girl mode, and I'm doing activism in girl mode, and I'm doing my running marathons in girl mode. But my dramatic acting is probably going to be in boy mode. I could play some trans characters. And that's how I'm going to do it. So other people have to work out how they do things going forwards. But that's the process that I'm going to do. So yeah, I'm in boy mode for this film for 6 minutes, and I'm playing a character. It's acting a character, so I'm cool with that.
And finally, you and Dame Judi have an absolutely marvelous chemistry on screen. It is so lovely to watch. How was it reuniting with her on set?
Yes, it was wonderful that she was happy to come and play. I didn't know if she would want to play it, because her character is very Nazi sympathetic, but she really wants to play against. She doesn't like being a national treasure. She just wants to be a working actor. And that's great about her. She's very much in touch with the young girl inside her. And she likes to have fun, and she likes to play, and she likes chocolate hobnobs, and she likes a glass of champagne. And yeah, that's yes, don't we all? And that's the wonderful thing about her. So she's great for you know, just the fact that she exists, I think, is great, and she's just got a great sense of humor.
Fascinating stuff, Eddie Izzard. So is this movie any good?
Well, The Independent gave it 3 stars. The Times, unfortunately, Kevin Maher gave it 2 stars. The Guardian, though, gave it 2 stars, but I don't trust what The Guardian says, so it may well be a very good film.
Why don't you trust The Guardian?
Many a reason.
It sounds like a leading question, I mean, but do you not rate their arts coverage?
No, at the beginning of the pandemic, one of their critics said, "Oh, we don't need superhero films. We need vaccines and this, that, and the other." I'm like, give everybody a break. It's a superhero film. We need escapism. What I will say, though, this film, very interesting in terms of its topic. It was a real life school where daughters and goddaughters and relatives of the Nazi high command were attending this finishing school in Britain, saluting, giving the Nazi salutes to Hitler on the radio, all happening in Bexhill in this country.
So it's an incredible
Oh,
story.
it's a fictional story, but based on an actual real life concept, and it's on Sky Cinema now. But also, what's coming up to Sky Cinema? We finally have a release date for Promising Young Woman.
Oh, yes.
That's coming on the 16th of April on Sky Cinema and also on Now. So Kerry Mulligan, directed by Emerald Fennell. It's Oscar and BAFTA nominated. So Sky are really upping their film coverage.
Let's have a round of applause for Josh Rom.
I'll take this. I will take this.
You've absolutely earned it, not only for being throwing shade on The Guardian. No, I'm only kidding. Listen, brilliant to have you on the show. Have an excellent weekend, and Josh Rom will return very soon. Let me tell you that